Hello there, Sully here, the retired tanker yanker. Welcome to Transitions. If you're a new subscriber, welcome. If you're a return visitor and not yet subscribed, just take a moment and hit the subscribe button right down there. Yeah, there it is. If you're already a subscriber, thanks for the continued support. Before I start, today's video is brought to you by the law firm of Dickham and Harder. Remember, if you need to sue someone, Dickham and Harder. Wow. Jeez. Where to start? I swore I wasn't going to do any more of these. Yeah, they pulled me back in. I just hope that now I don't wind up having a diabetic stroke. But that video I posted, my challenge to flat earth debunkers, got quite a response. Not exactly the response I expected either. Let's be honest here. It was meant to be satire. I like debunking videos, actually. What I don't like are the debates, and I'll get into that later. And, of course, I have nothing against the flirfs. Bless their hearts. And since I've posted that video, I have noticed that the debunking videos are getting a tad more interesting. So maybe I got my message through. But for the dim-witted out there, it was satire! I intended to be silly on purpose, hoping that that would convey my message. But some people took it seriously. Maybe too seriously. It seems that there are a lot of people out there on whom subtle humor is lost. And most of the comments that I got indicated that the reason that debunking videos are so boring is because flat Earth is boring. To tell you the truth, watching a flirt video is like listening to, in the immortal words of Tom Bodett, a garage mechanic on Thorazine. Oh yeah, and I still haven't seen Conspiracy Cats play the guitar yet. Maybe, however. I may need it to get through this one. I was forced to block someone from my channel for the very first time ever. I can't remember his name, but it was one of those cryptic handles people use in order to remain anonymous on YouTube. Anonymous on YouTube. Isn't that an oxymoron? The guy was trying to goad me into a debate. I told him what my high school geometry teacher, Father Ira, once said. You can't argue with a fool. Father Ira was probably the wisest person I have ever encountered in my life. He was loved and respected as an educator and as a man. And when he taught us that life lesson, he probably had people like this flirtmonger in mind. This particular individual told me that I am not too intelligent because that I believe that I live on a spinning ball. Well, if you use that logic, 99.5% of the entire human race is not too intelligent, I guess. But this guy, who spends his entire life defending his belief that we live on a giant space pizza, says that I'm not that bright. So, whatever the fuck your name is, you have been blocked on my channel. I never had to do that to anyone, so consider yourself a pioneer. I know you'll not take a lesson from this and continue to troll, but just FYI, I really don't give a flying fuck. You do what you do, and that's okay. But I really don't care. But remember this, I'll not debate you, and the reason is, I don't argue with fools. And you're entitled to your opinion. And it's not a crime to be wrong or stupid. And we all know which part of the human anatomy resembles opinions. Now, in that video, I offered my thoughts on why someone becomes a flirt. I guess I have to expand on that, mainly because of that comment questioning my intelligence. So it's like this. Have you ever heard the story about the Emperor's new clothes? Yeah, that's what flat Earth is. Someone who tells you you're smart because you believe what I believe, and anyone who doesn't is not smart. And they do all your thinking for you and say that finally you're thinking for yourself. In other words, you're being led down the garden path. My only advice to you is the same I would give the young lady being led down the garden path. Make sure the young man has only the best intentions, or at the very least uses the rubber. Which brings me to flirt debates. What they are shit shows. Okay, now what do I mean by a shit show? Okay, imagine, if you will, an arena. Two combatants stand in that arena. When the buzzer sounds to signal the start of the contest, the combatants proceed to hurl shit at each other. 1 hour later, the buzzer sounds, signaling the end of the contest. Both gladiators emerge, claiming victory. However, to an uninterested and observant bystander like myself, he or she will only see two shit-covered fools. That's a shit show. But flirt debates do have one thing in common, and that is one of the parties, namely the flirts, are debating from a position that 2 plus 2 equals 5. And if you think that 2 plus 2 equals 4, you're stupid. The fact that we live on a globe shouldn't even be a debate. We do. It's a fact. I don't believe that because someone told me. I believe that because someone has proven it to me. It has been proven through empirical evidence and not by some hack who forgot to take his lithium for about 10 years, doing some stupid homemade experiment which proves only that he is a fool. Okay, another old saw flirts like to use is that the video from space and that the space program itself are all a Hollywood stunt. Well, Netflix has recently started a comedy series called Space Force. Space Force was created by Greg Daniels and Steve Carell. It's centered around a group of people tasked with establishing the 6th branch of the United States Armed Forces, namely the United States Space Force. It stars Steve Carell, along with John Malkovich, Ben Schwartz, Diana Silvers, Lisa Kudrow, and Tony Newsom. Now, I've seen most of the episodes so far, and what I've seen is pretty funny. And it's basically satire, which means that flirts are going to take it for the gospel. I can't wait. So I'm guessing here that flirts keep on flirting because it makes them feel better about themselves. Okay, but you say, Sully, what do you know about this? You're just a truck driver. Hey, I wasn't always a truck driver. And in fact, I spent 8 years of my life counseling troubled youth, and I saw more than my fair share of poor self-image and how people compensate for it. In my case, many of these youth demonstrated antisocial behavior, usually criminal activity, but they showed other behaviors. I dealt with gay youth, for instance, and they would try to put on a front of being athletic or aggressive in order to gain acceptance. Now, myself, along with a few of the other counselors, accepted homosexuality as an accident of birth rather than a choice, which was considered maverick in the 80s. But I counseled these youth accordingly. Many other youth demonstrated depression. Most were just frustrated with their life situation. Well, I get that. When you're 5 years old, you live in the ghetto, you wake up one day, you look around and realize that this is as good as it gets. And that can do bad things to your head. So, I'm guessing that many flirts had issues as youth. I understand that. My problem is, far too many are trying to sell an idea to impressionable people with underlying psychological issues. Now, these kind of men I have very little patience with. But as for their followers, I won't judge. Hey, my shit stinks too. I'm not perfect and I don't know everything. I will say that I do have a positive self-image and I don't allow things that don't pertain to me to bother me. So I don't have a problem with the average flirt. Your views, your opinions are harmless. It's the flirt mongers who bother me because of the dangerous ideas they peddle. And you know who you are. Now, I suppose that there are people who now believe that I am operating a flat earth rebuttal channel. I am not. My channel is still primarily about what I'm doing in retirement, and a lot of that involves playing the guitar. If something brings you joy, you should do it, even if you're not all that good at it. Wait a minute. Just wait a minute. Wait a minute. I think I figured it out. Ignorance is bliss. Flirts are ecstatic. That's it! Well, I guess I'll sleep better now since I just figured out the flirts. And so, I take my leave. Live long and prosper, all you flirts out there. Enjoy your bliss. For Transitions, this is Sully, the retired taxi hacker. Safe and happy travels.